let's talk about dealing with your shit today. Yes, dealing with your shit, because really that's what it is. Because if it weren't, we would have already dealt with it and I wouldn't have to be making this video right now. But unfortunately, most of us don't deal with our shit, so that's what I want to help you do today. Because honestly, throughout our entire lives, we'll be dealing with our own shit. There will be something that we have to get over. Life is the journey, right? There is no destination. So you're going to have things that you're always overcoming. Now, the biggest, most important thing is to overcome all of your own stuff. Because once you can overcome all of your own stuff, then you can move forward and you can move on. And all of the other stuff will be so much easier because you know how you are with things. Really, if you say to yourself, why does this always happen to me? Oh, why isn't anything ever changed? Why can't anything be different? Well, there's a lot going into that, but starting with your own shit is a good place to start, because when you deal with your own shit, then those questions don't come up very often, if at all, because most of the answers to all of those questions comes right back around to you. It's not that all of these people are doing things to you, it's that you haven't dealt with yourself in order to overcome these situations when they arise. Life has this way of showing us the things that we need to overcome and the ways that we need to grow. And when we choose to ignore them, then it gets a little bit bigger. And when we ignore that, it gets a little bit bigger, and it gets a little bit bigger, and it gets a little bit bigger. And depending on what it is, it's going to, one way or another, if you don't deal with it, it will blow up in your face. And depending on what it is, it could have some pretty dire consequences, whether it be jail, the end of a relationship, the loss of a business, the loss of a home, the loss of a car, the loss of, whatever. I mean, it can really lead to the biggest things that you fear happening. So if you deal with your own stuff, the chances of that drastically go down. As long as you're always dealing with your own shit, then there's way less around. So how do we do that? How do we deal with our own shit? Well, the first thing you need to realize is that everybody has shit. Everybody. I don't care who it is. Everybody has shit that they have to deal with their own selves, things that they have to overcome. So the first step in all of it is to quit worrying about everybody else. Quit worrying about what everybody else thinks, because everybody has their own stuff to deal with. And while you're busy thinking about your stuff and how everybody's looking at your stuff, guess what everybody else is thinking? Same thing. So think about that. Everybody else is worried about you seeing their stuff, just like you're worried about them seeing your stuff. Well, everybody has stuff. So rather than worrying about who sees what, why don't we just deal with our stuff so there's nothing to be seen at all? Right? And then when new stuff comes up, it isn't that big of a deal. So we want to start by not worrying about anybody else, nor what they think. Then the next step is to be honest with yourself. What areas are you struggling? And if you aren't sure what areas those are, well, then I'll help you out here. Any area of your life in which you desire more is an area for opportunity and growth. All right, Daphne, that's every single area of my life. Okay, smarty pants. I'll tell you to start with the easiest one first. Get yourself some confidence so that you can see that it's really not that hard to work through. So let's talk about maybe you are constantly late. That is a great area of opportunity for you to grow. Now, the thing is that you can't just, oh, well, I'm just going to set my alarm early. Well, you know what? I'm sure you tried that solution before and it didn't work. So here's the difference. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn inside of ourselves, and rather than, man, I'm always late. How do I stop being late? No. Start with, well, why am I always late? Well, what happens when I'm late? Well, I stay up late at night. I play around on the internet or on my phone, and I'm talking till all hours of the night, and I'm just not getting myself in bed early enough. Okay, so all right, well, the reason why I'm not in bed early enough is because I'm doing all of these other things. Now, why am I doing all of these other things? Well, because I'm bored. Okay, well, why am I bored? keep going through the whole process. And as you do that, and as you are looking and just seeing what it is that causes you to do that, make sure that you don't judge yourself, because there is no judgment here. You do it, and it's the way that it is. So we're trying to change this, right? And we don't want to try, we want to change. So take the judgment out. It's okay. You've been like this for a really long time, and it's okay to acknowledge it, because remember, everybody else has shit too, okay? So don't judge yourself. You're late all the time, all right? It's something I've personally struggled with. Well, what did I do? Well, I did that. I said, well, why am I always late? Well, because I'm staying up late. Well, why am I staying up late? Well, because I'm reading on Facebook. Well, what am I doing on Facebook? Well, I'm bored. Well, why am I bored? Well, because I have nothing else to do and I'm not tired. Well, what did I do today that would make me tired? Well, I didn't really do a whole lot. So how do I change that? Well, I realized the issue wasn't the fact that I was getting up late, like I wasn't waking up to my alarm. It was the fact that I wasn't getting enough exercise and I wasn't treating my body right. So by the time that it came to nighttime, I wasn't tired enough to go to sleep. And then I would be up really late, and then I would sleep in really late, and then the kids would get up early, and then I'd be tired all day. Nobody likes tired mama. Nobody likes tired Daphne. So how did I combat that? Well, when I realized I wasn't treating myself right, I changed that. So I work out, 3 to 5 times a week, doing yoga classes and things, and I make sure that I'm feeding my body right. And then I am ready for bed plenty early, and you know what? I wake up naturally in the morning. And that was a process. This wasn't something that happened overnight. It was something I worked a little bit more on each and every day. So how do we do that? So now we know why we're doing this. So how do we change it? Well, again, don't judge yourself. Be easy with yourself, because change is not something that we like to do, but it is necessary. So don't be all over yourself when the first night happens and you did everything that you think you should have done and then it doesn't work out. It's the first time that you're trying something new. So be gentle with yourself. It's okay. This is a learning process. You're finding out what works well for you. And it's not going to be the same for everybody. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. And some people are going to be a lot different. So don't worry about everybody else. Don't compare to everybody else, because everybody else is comparing to everybody else. So focus on just what you're doing. And every day, do it a little bit more. Do more to overcome that obstacle. And when you feel like you've got a good grasp on it, then you can move on to something else, because we want to focus on one thing at a time so we get the confidence of the success in order to tackle our next big obstacle. Without the confidence of the success, it's harder to overcome bigger things. So we want to do that for ourselves. This whole process is for ourselves. So let's set ourselves up for success. If you found this video helpful, I sure hope you did. Please, please, please subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment, give me some feedback. Feel free to email me, Intuitivedaphne.com. You can check out my website, Intuitivedaphne.com. You can find out a little bit about me and what I do. And again, I would just love to hear your feedback about this. I do this for you because you know what? There weren't videos out there like this for me when I was going through it. So I want to make sure that I give back in my knowledge. So I'd love to connect. I'd love to hear from you. Oh, and find me on Facebook, facebook.com/IntuitiveDaphne. Talk to you soon.